have you ever wondered why no one in Nazi Germany seemed to speak out, to resist, to stand up to the authoritarian socialists who were seizing control in their country? Well, the presence of literal bully boys with sticks on the street corners was obviously a pretty, calming influence upon anyone who might be wishing to speak out, but another, and probably an even bigger reason, are people like Sissy right here, ready to step on in and muddy the waters and defend the socialist regime of the day. In this case, China. Please free me from the bad takes about China's gaming restrictions. There is no one-size-fits-all take when you're dealing with millions of diverse gamers. Jesus Christ. This is a Kotaku article. Hell, you know, this seems extreme even for a Kotaku article. Actual literal defense of gaming restrictions, extreme draconian gaming restrictions imposed upon the civilian populace by a extreme communist regime. And yet, there are still those in the West willing to get their backs. What a world we live in. Even Kotaku, I wouldn't have thought would be able to stoop quite this low, but well, that shows what I know, doesn't it? Starting from September 1st, players under 18 years of age are restricted to 1 hour gaming a day on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and public holidays. The restriction imposed on players don't come from law, you see. Oh, you must understand. Whenever any kind of news about China hits the internet, I brace myself for oversimplification by English language writers and commentators. For you say, I have a Chinese-sounding name. Sissy, by the way, lives in Dallas, Texas. About as far geographically and ideologically as you can possibly get from China, but his name is Sissy, so he knows far better than you. And you see, it's not a law, you understand? It's an industry regulation. Right. Alright, Sissy. And who enforces the industry regulation? Just out of interest. Oh, I know. It's the Chinese Communist Party. It is a law, though he has happened upon one actual argument here, namely that a lot of governments, not just the Chinese one, but governments all across the world, tend to make regulations when it is far more difficult to make an actual law. See, the legal system is slow and complicated, and people have rights. What a silly concept. Where you can go like, okay, no, I wasn't actually in violation of this law, and I'm going to argue that in court. Then the government might find that the court doesn't side with them. Awful, I know. Over here in the West, we still strive to do that, but in many countries, it's often been a lot easier to simply say that, oh, this is merely a regulation, you see. We're going to put the burden on enforcing this onto the companies. Oh, what was that? What happens to the companies if they don't do it? Well, what do you think happens to a non-compliant company in a communist nation? Yes. Under the regulations, gaming companies are tasked with preventing minors from accessing their games during certain times, and to boot players after they run out of their allotted times. Now, this isn't a new and draconian thing, you see. It is merely a tightening of government regulations that have already existed. No, goody. We're not. See, you might think that it sounds a little bit extreme that we're shutting down all Jewish businesses, but this is merely a tightening of regulations already in place. Like, that doesn't make it any better, Sissy. In fact, that makes it worse. That is merely the slow boiling of the frog, where they go like, okay, we're going to put in place these regulations, and we're going to wait for our people to jump in and apologize about it. Oh, no, it's not that bad. You say it's not that bad. Then we're going to push it a little further. Oh, it's not bad. I'm going to put it a little further. Oh, it's just a tightening, you see. And somehow, people living in Texas will still defend them. Why do these rules exist? Oh, good. Let's see how he explains this one. While it might be tempting to generalize the Chinese government as inherently regulatory, No, Sissy. I'm not tempted at all to call them inherently regulatory. No. I'm tempted to call them a fascist authoritarian state, the end point of all socialism. That's what I'm tempted to call them. But no, inherently regulatory. It is important to consider that the gaming landscape in China is very different than North America and Europe. Oh, I see. So what is the justification for banning anyone under the age of 18 to play 3 hours a week? Well, you understand, 92 to 95% of games made in China are based on the free-to-play model. Oh yes, so there's the video games in China are mostly mobile games and free multiplayer arena games, like MOBAs and stuff. Okay, you know what? A fair argument. People who play mobile games and MOBAs aren't humans, and they should not, in fact, enjoy the same rights and privileges as the rest of us. You got me there, Sissy. I wholeheartedly agree. In fact, I must raise the question, is merely a tightening of regulations an adequate solution to the MOBA problem? Oh, God help me, the mobile gaming problem. I think we need to find something a little bit more stringent here, but oh well. This means that gaming addiction and delinquent spending, two qualities associated with these types of games, are a much more prevalent concern in China compared to in the West. Oh no, people are spending their time and money the way they choose, and also gaming addiction. I hate this word, because it's like, oh, you know, people are hooked on heroin, on crack cocaine, or video games. This is not an addiction, it's fun. That's what, it's fun. And you live in China. You live under communism. I can't really blame you for seeking any escape you possibly can, honestly. And delinquent spending. These are children? Why does a child have access to money to spend delinquently? This is a parent problem. Beat the child. If you come home to a $2,000 phone bill, bap, and bap harder until the child has learned to not take your credit card. Or even better, don't leave them with your credit card. They also mention, of course, that this is a thing where apparently parents just do this. And so it's a 15-year-old console ban was also motivated by concerns about video game addiction. But you can't call China anti-gaming, because you can see there's a large esport industry in China. For a company, Mihoyang ranked 88, with among all Shanghainese companies in terms of income, tax contribution is an important part of local economy. At the national level, the Minister of Education stated the categorizing esports management as an official major in 2016. So it's pretty ridiculous to make a broad statement about how Chinese government, at what level, which branch, any specific individual is necessarily anti-gaming. What part, I say, of the German Reich do you consider to be anti-Jewish, sir? Don't you understand? They have an area of Jewish studies. The Wehrmacht isn't anti-Jewish, you must understand. No. And furthermore, it's not that we're complaining that they are anti-gaming, as in they don't like video games. We are complaining that this is an incredibly authoritarian and overreaching abuse of governmental power. Like, holy shit, what is this whataboutism nonsense? China, and furthermore as well, you see, there is a grey market, yes. China has a grey market of PC and consoles. They also mention that Steam is available in China, for the moment at least. And so it's not that bad. Okay, you can illegally access these things. God. It's like arguing that, you see, banning all alcohol in the US wasn't actually a problem, because you see, there were illegal ways to get alcohol. That worked out so well in the US. I'm sure a flourishing grey market and black market is just, that's the solution. Don't worry about the governmental overreach. Complying with the new rule isn't technically difficult because it's just a matter of writing. Yeah, you just need to implement the facial recognition things. Holy shit. Holy shit. Like... there. I'm a little bit lost for words here. I remember I saw an article a little while ago from the usual sources saying, why are people angry at Kotaku? Kotaku just video game journalistic website. They're just honest journalists, don't you understand? They just want better video games. This is why people hate Kotaku. Because when they're not trying to push their... And let me make this absolutely clear as well. I remember being sent a video a while ago with a dude being like, I just don't understand what Arch is complaining about, but far left. What does the far left mean? This is what I mean by the far left. This is a mainstream video gaming publication running defense for communist China. Running defense for the idea of restricting people to 3 hours of video games per week via facial recognition software. Holy shit. And this again is by a person who lives in Dallas, Texas. Like, Jesus Christ, the champagne socialism on display here. God. Kotaku. Awful website. Never forgive, never forget. They are amongst the absolute worst publications on the internet. God. And this is why we use archive links. Until next time, I've been Art. Thank you very much for watching, and God screw Kotaku. Have a good day.